So, does anyone know why in Star Trek normally they just transport the nuclear bomb on their ship into?
Well, they do that in darkness. It's a nuclear bomb. And showing background, the answer was that you couldn't teleport onto the ship with shields well.
But the second you knock your shields out, you just teleport the bomb.
Yeah.
So the battle's over. The second you knock your shields.
Well, if you can teleport onto a planet, obviously, yeah. I actually assume that the teleport pads are mostly there for stability purposes, rather than as a difficult part of the teleportation system.
Right? It's just like a designated spot.
Yeah. The telling is, you can easily calculate that spot, you know, like teleporting from wherever the hell else you can.
Although it is interesting that, you know, they always have.
You're welcome, Danny.
When it's just like, you know, you could be sitting on the bridge and be like, all right, maybe down the planet. And, you know, it isn't like that. You have to tweak it unless they grab it.
Yeah.
You know, like they never teleport right from the bridge to the planet. So don't need the teleport room. And walk down and go.
I think, hypothetically, you could either teleport to the bridge, or you could teleport from the bridge to the teleport room, and then from the teleport room to the planet.
Yeah, that's what would have to happen.
But,
Do a lot of power.
maybe that's why you can't just teleport the nuclear bomb out of the ship, because ships are in teleportation except for the teleport room. The teleport room is not big enough to pass it. Like, if the teleport pad has to be part of the scope of the destination, theoretically you can just shut those off and leave it on top. But if there's some kind of weird interference from one drive, we probably teleportation and refound the pad.
Well, no, because they always teleport people on and off the ships all the time.
Well, yeah, then we can teleport that.
Now, when they like teleport onto the ship, they just
Sure.
teleport is monster. And it's one half of the equation. Like it either always has to start or end.
Yeah. But that doesn't really explain why they had these teleport bombs instead of.
Oh, No, it doesn't at all. There's nothing in Star Trek world that prevents this teleportation of nuclear bombs on someone else's planet. The second before it detonates.
And in fact, in Darkness, they actually did.
Yeah. There's so many things like that in Star Trek universe.
Like, why didn't you use this technical?
No, why?
Plot holes in Star Trek? Oh, God.
Why didn't, so let me get this straight. You can time travel?
No, yeah, there's a lot of those. Yeah, the second time travel gets introduced, it's like, you're like rescuing some girl from Soviet Russia. Why not just go do a lot of other, or from the Nazis?
At that point, your plot holes basically just become plots with cheese.
No, the story stops in the popular community. It's all one driving plot.
Although I feel like stories about people who move through the same events in time usually don't have that many plot holes in them because they actually do go back every time they fail.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow or Rip Guy with People. You guys see that? They changed the name of the after they released the people didn't know it was about. It was really good.
What movie?
Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow was really good. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow is really good. You hate Tom Cruise? Really?
start.
Yeah.
Are you on the mic?
One sec. There is sound. Using a Wacom Cintiq. It looks like this. It's a 20 or a 22 inch. And Photoshop. In a MacBook. Nope, nothing beats a Wacom. No, I haven't been talking. I could turn on the music I'm listening to, but you guys wouldn't want to hear that. Sorry, I just read the questions. How long does one take? It depends completely. This one's taking a lot longer than I made this guy over here yesterday. This biker-looking guy. He sometimes it just takes a life of its own. He was not supposed to start it like that, but he just kind of ended up like that. So I'm kind of doing it again, what was originally just supposed to be a trader that you run into like on a space station. Yeah, I basically, truth, I like for this guy, I've kind of have an idea in the back of my head. If you've ever seen there's a trader on, like you really always want to kind of go for archetypes, because as you draw it, eventually it just stops being an archetype, whether you like it or not. So you like, what's a typical trader look like? You know, backpack and lots of gear. And as you go, it just eventually stops being that. So you can be really kind of rip something off and it comes. So like in the back of my head, I've got the, I think it's a Dota 2 comic. Let me see if I can find it. What was it? Yeah, it was yeah, here we go. Found it. So I've kind of got this guy in the back of my head. And I don't want to pull up the image because then I'll actually really start making it. But I've kind of got this impression in my head of what he looked like. Yeah, so some generic element. Yep. I don't even, it's not your eye. You kind of just copy it in your own head and it just kind of works itself out. Because invariably you get some things wrong or it doesn't fit the shape of your guy. And so it just starts to figure itself out, kind of. Like if you look at that image, that's in the back of my head, and clearly it's already quite a bit different. One of the problems when you have this few of pixels, though, is like showing things like weight, like this bag is supposed to look heavy. It's hard to do. So we'll see if we can make it look heavier. Yeah, that'd be funny, like a Trilax Quasimodo. That'd be funny. I didn't think of that until now, but that would be really funny. There's no good guides, no. I would just do it. I mean, we'll go to, I'll show you just for some encouragement. Here's our very original guy. He's horrible. Like, understand, look at all these assets. Like, this is derivative of a lot of stuff. You're looking at 5 years in advance. So I wouldn't be too discouraged. This is a lot of evolutions and changes. Like you can see, even we got better and better as we went along. Yeah, Cintiq helps. You definitely need the right tools. There's something to be said for that. You got to have the right tools. I would highly recommend a Cintiq. It's pricey, but it's hard to do. You know, it's like building a fence or fixing a fridge. If you don't have the right tools, you just can't. It's hard to get started. Pixel Logic. A visual pixel art guide. We had a funny title for our videos. I can't remember what it was. It was something like making pixel art the crappy way. The war balloon way. Yeah, there's a lot of videos. I really mean it. Like, I think the best thing to do is to just do it. I know it sounds really cliche, but it just there's no real shortcut. As long as you have the right tools, get a Wacom, get a used one, start with a used one, and then if you're starting to get into it, spend a little bit more money. Yeah, that's exactly right. It takes a long time. There's just no shortcuts. Yeah, my background is in, I went to Colorado State University and I got a degree in, I got a major in graphic design and a minor in drawing. But again, I wouldn't let that discourage you or like say what you can and can't do. If you don't, the degree was helpful, but far from critical. Yeah, my brother Justin, who does pixel art, he uses a Wacom, and he doesn't use the Cintiq, and he's perfectly fine with it. It's a preference thing. I'm so old school that I just like to be able to feel when I'm drawing, but it's really a preference thing. Only Photoshop. Why do you use Photoshop? I don't know what graphic scale is. I'll look it up real quick. But oh, cool. Because most of the time, like, graphic scale does everything we've already that you can do. Like, it looks like it has animation stuff, which is nice. But you can do a lot of that in Photoshop. There's probably better tools for exactly what we do, but then I can quickly put this into an ad for Facebook, like I did just like 10 minutes ago, or it's really fast across the devices. It's rare that we're doing just one single thing, like just making pixel art. Like I've got Unity open over here, and I've got, Word and Google Docs and stuff if I need to pay something. So I'm making a bunch of excuses not to use graphic scale. It's probably just because I've used Photoshop for so long. But like, just for some tips, like I think one thing that helps significantly is a limited palette, especially when you're first getting started. It makes the decision-making process a lot quicker. It's like, I need a purple. Okay, here's my purples. You don't have to really sort out, oh, okay, what kind of shade am I looking for or anything like that. You kind of streamline some of those things where you get stuck. Like, oh, that doesn't feel right. Well, who cares? That's one thing. The other thing is high contrast versus low contrast. This is Art 101, but it's better to like basically start with the darks, then jump to the mediums, and then save the lights for adding dimension and shape on things. Like, if you look at this guy's leg, like, it doesn't punch. It's really flat when this is done. And I'll zoom back out so you can see it. But once you kind of add that stuff in, it starts to give the character dimension. And it's, you want to get the shape right and the volume right, and then you can really kind of make it work with highlights and things like that. Like, this bag is a great example of, like, it feels really flat right now, so I got to kind of just give it some shape with highlights and lowlights. Give it a sense of mass. But you want to be, I think a good piece of advice is be liberal with darks and be conservative with lights. Contrast is good, but you really want to kind of save the lights for punch, and they work a lot better. The other thing that's weird is that you would think that, like, if you look at the lighting on this guy, the lighting is completely wrong. Some parts he's lit in the middle, some parts he's lit on the side, and it really doesn't matter. It never really matters. It's more about the artistic style than anything else. You'd think it would matter, but it doesn't. We used to waste a lot of time on, like, correct lighting, and it doesn't matter. And then good color theory helps too. Like one of the problems I can already see in this is that it's really mucky, kind of, I wish you could see my mouse. It's really mucky in this region right here. You can't really see the difference between his arm and the bag. And color theory would help here. I could, if it was, because red and brown are almost identical, so it's really hard to see. Like if this was green, it would help a lot. Maybe I'll just make them green. Let's try them green. And see, now all of a sudden you can see everything. I don't know if I like them green, but it's interesting. It'd be more interesting if this was red now. Yeah, kill wrath. Yeah, that's right. A cool shadow side and a warm. That's exactly what we do. It's just one side is warm and one side's cool. And sometimes it's the middle of the object, and sometimes it's the sides. It's completely inconsistent. Well, and the other thing about our game. So one of the things about our game is we just flip assets. We don't do two sides. So if he's walking left. So like here's a really bad, no one ever says anything about it, but a really bad design is, here are a bunch of alternate uniforms. Oh yeah, so here's our, if you look at our crew member, our central crew member, he's got an armband only on one arm, and because he flips around, that armband is dynamic. So it jumps sides, which is really bad design on our part, but we like the look, so. It's also very Nazi-esque. No one's ever said anything about that either, but it's very SS design. Yeah, he does. He has a Robin Hood thing going on. He does. The other thing I like personally staying in the color family of the like the turquoise and red. So Team Valve does a great job with this, which is like shapes and color archetypes, so that you can visually see the outline of a heavy. You can just know it's a heavy. And it's the same thing with, like, we want to kind of capture a similar thing. You can visually tell very quickly what each race is based on color and shape. Less than, like, details. Let's try them turquoise. kind of fun. It's feeling pretty good, decent. What will help give it mass is if I make it look like these bands are barely hanging on for life. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. It's kind of fun. You can't see the straps. See, now we're out of colors, and we need to make it so you can see the straps. So we've got a problem. Oh, I wouldn't get discouraged. I'm telling you, this is, you're looking, it's like Cyclone. I wouldn't get discouraged. You're looking at 5 years of work at once. It's not really fair to yourself. That stuff didn't happen overnight. Like, I don't know if you played Neo Scavenger. That game has not great art, but it is just really well executed. And I watched that, the whole process. Like, I got into that alpha really early. And he is not a very good artist, but that game is really fun, and where it works really well. So I wouldn't be too discouraged. Star Command was our very first game ever, and it did pretty well for us. So I wouldn't worry about that. It's fun. I would highly recommend it. Ooh, let's try red. No. I got a strap. I got a problem with the straps. They should be yellow, but he's yellow. So that's a problem. Let's try this. Oh yeah, I think we've talked about some other ideas for games. And definitely pixel art is not suitable for a lot of them. But for right now, pixel art is exactly what it has to be. Have you tried the desktop version, the Star Command Galaxies? Good. The new version should improve a lot of that. I could show you guys. You guys want to see some gameplay of Galaxies? Or do you want me to keep making pixel art? There, let's. I'll pull up Unity. Actually, I gotta get the newest build. Right now, we're working on cursor states, and basically all of our cursors are a mess. So we have to fix all of them, and it's a huge undertaking, and it's hard to tell exactly what we did on the next build. So it's one of those, lots of work, not a lot of upside types of things. But you should be able to interact with the game a lot better. Let's see, I was going to show you. Oh yeah. Like we have stuff like this selected, all these elements is what we're trying to get exactly right, so that it's really easy to tell, like when you are a medic, what you can heal, or if you're an engineer, what you can repair, things like that. More art. Here, I'll stay with art in just a sec. I'll pull. Let me pull the build. Yeah, we know Cold Rice. We've talked to them. They're nice. He's nice. It's nice. So let's see. Oh yeah, okay, you guys can see this. So here's Unity. So here's the game. One of the things we're working on quite a bit is how you interact with things. So it's really confusing. So now you'll have mouse over states. These are going to get a lot better. This is just the prototype, but you'll have a lot better idea of what exactly you're clicking on and what you're going to do when you click on it. The other thing you'll see down here is like your food and energy. Whoops, I got the game paused. Your food and energy should feel very familiar for Sims fans. We'll kind of show you what's going up and what's going down. And then right here we have our mood. There's a lot of placeholder stuff in here, but this will all be in by not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, the 20th. But one of the confusing elements of the game right now is exactly what can I do with what and who can do it. So we're going to be adding things like the ability to lock a door or depower objects. Guys will think about food, and now you can get food, whereas before it was a real nightmare to do it. So we'll put this kitchen up. And then guys will start seeking things out on their own. This guy's going to get some grub. He wants to talk to someone. This guy wants some art. And we're going to have to go search the galaxy for stuff that makes our guys happy. Food. Some of the other problems we're fixing, like, you'd be shocked at how difficult it is to do, like, layered objects. So things like sitting down on a chair and things like that are incredibly complicated. Because at the heart of our game is still a 3D engine instead of a 2D engine, so that we can have things like physics. So having a 2D sprite with 3D data sit on a 2D sprite with 3D data is really, really hard. So we're working through some of those things right now. Anyway, you get the gist. I'll go back to pixel arting. Whoops. So that is our trader, our Trilax trader. He's feeling pretty good. Feels like he belongs in the world. Let's try and put him on a tile. See if that feels right. I think the thing's not going to, his backpack's not going to be in perspective. Let's see. That's not bad. It's a little out of perspective, but nothing terrible. He feels right. You will. Eventually you'll get to choose your crew at the beginning. It's just a low priority for us right now. Like, you'll notice that there aren't girls in the game because we're working through bigger issues. Just with, like, again, like layering. We don't want to work on layering and getting females and males to work on layering. So it's like, we'll just keep our potential bugs to limit our bugs, I guess is the way to put it. Yes, we have, here, where's our, have you seen our dogs? Where's our dogs? You'll be getting a Pixel Chihuahua. Yes. But yeah, hiring crews coming for sure. It's just a low priority. Actually, I'll show you where's the dog sprite. I think I actually did a Chihuahua. Let's see. These are the guys we really want to get in the game. These blob monsters that convert your guys, they're really fun. Oh yeah, here's a cat and Chihuahuas and poop. Smolder bodies, lots of art. About a quarter of this stuff actually makes it into the game. All right. Unity, we're really happy with it. It has its problems like any engine, but we have 7 guys working on the project, and it works pretty well. And we use it in a really weird way. We basically made a 2D isometric game in a 3D engine, and it's kind of funky we made it really hard, essentially, to make our game. There was easier ways to do it, but in the end, it'll make things like real-time lighting and like physics and vacuum effects, like guys getting sucked into space and things like that really cool. You just haven't seen much of that yet. So, but Unity as a whole, I recommend it pretty highly. It just kind of gets rid of some of the roadblocks to making games. You just want to make a game. I mean, you don't get rewards for making really good code. John Carmack does. Yeah, we were actually talking to the guys that made Cortex Command. Yeah, that actually is a coincidence. That's just like kind of your typical like stereotype brain in a jar robot. It was actually more borrowed from Ninja Turtles than Cortex, but we are not ashamed to say that we rip things off or borrow, however you want to put it. But Cortex Command. It might have been subtle. It might have been subconscious, but it wasn't on purpose. I would tell you if it was. Like I'm trying to think of things that we blatantly ripped off. Oh, here's our flamethrower. That should look familiar for anyone that plays Team Fortress. Bad things about Unity. There's still a learning curve for sure. Once you kind of get used to the tools, though, it's like anything else. It seems really natural now. Even the price, like you can make anything basically with Unity, and then you don't have to get Unity Pro until you basically get into some really advanced stuff. And by then, you probably should be pretty confident about your game, that it's worth the investment. Unity Pro, the only problem we have with Unity is we have 7 guys, and we only need like 1 or 2 Pro copies for some features, but that means anyone that doesn't have Unity Pro can't like turn on things like Fog of War or things like that. So that means we've got to buy 7 copies, which is kind of stupid, but as a whole, we're pretty happy with it. It does a lot of what we want it to do. Like, I have way less complaints about Unity than Cocos 2D. It depends on what your goal is. If you want to make games fast and just get the game out, then Unity's awesome. If you're doing other stuff, like creating your own custom engine from the ground up, Unity's probably pretty horrible. That guy feels good. Let's do a new one. Hang on one sec. Getting some water. Thanks, here.